Well, good afternoon. Thank you for joining me. Brand image, customer experience, customer engagement, and what a beautiful backdrop we have. And you will already notice young Jonathan sat beside me. Now, this is the third video of our little series. I did one on employee branding. Jonathan did one based around the techie and the recruitment sector. Now, we're going to do something slightly different. What was the last line you finished your video on?
So the last video I did, I asked a question and I said, do you know what your employees are saying about you when they're going off to conferences, training, meetups?
So that's where we're going to start this video. As for me, and we've had quite a little bit of discussion while we've been enjoying the view behind us about, for me it's a little bit cultural, and Jonathan's been explaining that culture is organic. It's how the business and how the team grow, and you know how much I think about the team working together, working as one unit for a desired outcome. Now that tends to work in my industries, the transport industry, the motor trade and the sports industry. We tend to work as teams, and we tend to have set, this is what the business is, this is what the business does, and we kind of get a little bit of a mismatch, but it's not too bad. Now, just speaking to Jonathan, hence why the video is up here and it's going to be raw, Jonathan talks about the perceived benefits, the hard benefits and the soft benefits, and how they kind of work together. And it comes back for me, and which is why we're going to ask the question of Jonathan, is that when you're going out singing the praises of the business, you want the whole team on the same song sheet. Now, as Jonathan's going to mention, hopefully, there's a lot more meetups, there's a lot more conferences, there's a lot more, I suppose, social gatherings that your techie guys tend to do.
Yeah.
So explain that to me and explain that to them, how it works, because obviously I'm seeing a perceived benefit, a soft benefit, a hard benefit, but in some respects the company have got to design all them for people to buy into. But then with the soft benefits that you've spoken about, longer holidays and this and perceived, how does that all work?
So I think with the software industry, the reason that the harder benefits, so the more financially driven benefits,
Yep.
Are not such a driver when people are looking for new jobs is most people have heard of the study over happiness, or seen the graph of happiness versus income.
Yeah.
And it tends to plateau at about £40,000-50,000 a year.
Yeah.
And a lot of developers are around that mark. So they've reached almost peak happiness versus income. So they're now looking at the work-life balance. That's kind of the next priority. They've got a good income. They can afford to live in a nice area, a nice house. So now they want to spend a bit more time in that house with their families.
Right.
So that's where the kind of culture aspect has come from. And you talked about cultures growing organically.
Yeah.
It's certainly something that you can't set out and say, right, this is the culture we're going to have.
Totally
it
agree.
all comes down to the employees that you bring in, but it is something that can be nurtured. And I think the best way to nurture that is to actually have openness within the organisation.
Yeah.
So when I speak to developers, one of the biggest frustrations that they have within their teams is that they're told this is what we're going to do, and they, for whatever reason, disagree with the way that the technology is going to go or the project that they're working on at the moment. And there's obviously a strategic reason as to why management have decided to go down that route.
Yeah.
But that obviously hasn't been conveyed to them.
Yep.
Certainly not in the right way, anyway, for them to understand the reasoning behind going in that direction. And it might, if they understood why that was, then they would perhaps still not agree with it, but they would be more willing and accepting of going in that direction. That makes them then happier in their work. And then because of the speed that software progresses, there's a lot of meetups, conferences, things like that you touched on before, and a lot of developers are going to these, talking to other developers, and they'll talk over problems and issues that they're facing at work.
For sure. I was going to say, it seems more community-based. It seems more social. You know, obviously the trucks are very isolated. They'll go up maybe a week at a time, 2 weeks away. So when they meet up, they might only meet up at, you know, there's 3 or 4 big truck shows a year. So they kind of vent. But obviously with your business and your sector, your recruitment all the way through. And I keep hinting back to the recruitment because, and I've heard you talk, and obviously you spoke in your last video about doing a recruitment drive, a recruitment, I call it a night from my language. But in that room, you've not just got potential employees, you've got potential customers, you've got potential competitors that are finding out about how good your business is. And we're talking about the branding side in some respects, but we're now finding that the branding goes across the business. It's just how the business looks, how the business feels. Well, that's kind of my bit. But then obviously for you, that's taking it right back to the recruitment process of going, if the business say the right thing and do the right thing, and the customers are happy with them, they're going to be singing your praises. Business do the right thing and say the right thing, the employees are going to be happy, they're going to do the right thing. So it's very much, but like the bit I'm struggling to get my head around, we might have 3 or 4 truck shows a year. You're having meetups, I won't say daily, but virtually monthly meetings where they're going out. So from the recruitment process through is, in some respects, quite a short process. So how do you, I take it it's a managed kind of perception that we're all going to sing off the same song sheet?
Yeah, so you touched on a few things there, but we'll start with everybody singing from the same hymn sheet. And that's why, for me, it's so important for HR, specifically the recruitment function, usually sits within HR.
Yeah, for sure.
To work so closely with marketing and sales.
Yeah, I can see that.
What the two functions are doing is very similar, just to different audiences. And I've said this before.
Yeah.
You've got sales and marketing focusing on your customers.
Yep.
And you've got recruitment focusing on potential employees.
Yep.
But if you were to call them customers, it's still doing the same thing.
The same message, yeah.
The same message has to be working across both. And because a lot of software companies aren't household names, they are able to have 2 different identities, which can sometimes be good, sometimes have its disadvantages.
Different. Yeah, okay. Get that.
But then some companies that are household names,
Google, I suppose. Yeah, Google's probably the big one.
Google, everybody knows Google, everybody knows what they do, or they think they know what
exactly.
Google
Perceived perception, yeah.
In actual fact, Google, many fingers in many pies.
Yeah, for sure.
But everybody's heard of Google, and there's already that gravitation towards that company because people have heard of them.
Yeah, makes sense.
And their marketing department and recruitment functions are all sending the same message, even though they've got 2 different audiences.
Yeah, and I think that's the way. So we go back to that little bit of brand. So whether it's the brand for the customers, the brand for the employees, the brand that in some respects you're putting out towards your competitors, that we're strong, we're connected, we're a team, we all work together. It's a strong brand, a strong identity, and we're seen as doing the right thing. Now we're just going to touch quickly just before the video ends. Now, there's not so much with my sector. It's a very quick one. We've got a job application, mechanic, trucker driver, receptionist, salesman. It's quite easy. You get CV, you fill it. Yours are more event driven, getting people in and getting to be there. Now I know you're going to go on hopefully and do a video on, and now let me get this right because I always get it wrong. It's the recruitment process.
Yeah.
Then there's the
So the first one is employer branding.
Yep.
Then there's the recruitment process.
That's it.
And then there's employee engagement. And
that's the bit that I struggle, because I know you put them all together. So hopefully you'll watch Jonathan's next video. But the one thing I want you to take from here, the key bites are the brand has got to be across, and you've all got to sing from the same song sheet. And obviously with our world, we're going out, as I say, a couple of truck shows a year, kind of putting a message out there, and you'd probably take your best staff. With your industry, monthly meetings, virtually all your staff, I suppose, in some respects, are going out, singing your praises, the soft benefits, the hard benefits, the perceived benefits. I'll let you talk about your video on that.
Yeah.
So in closing, I think the brand has got to be fairly strong from, and it's kind of led from the front and led from, they all build up, everybody's got to sing from the same song sheet.
Yeah.
That we agree in my industry. And I think you'll agree.
One thing I just wanted to pick up on that you touched on before was I've run several events, recruitment events.
Yes, yeah.
Branded as not recruitment events, but that was the core purpose. And a couple of times clients have come back and said we had a good audience there, but there were a few people there that weren't our right demographic that we were trying to attract. And for me, it doesn't matter if you've got people there. You never know who you're talking to. You never know who they know, and you and I know that from networking for business. but it's the same thing. You might have somebody there who's a dentist, for example, and you're talking to them about software, but their brother, their sister, anybody, one of their friends could be a software developer that could be interested in a role with your organisation. So you have to remember, although that person that you're talking to at the time might not be the right audience for you, you never know
for sure
who their connections are.
And my little saying for that, it's not the person in front of you, it's the person's phone book that you're trying to get entry into. And if they build up a trust and respect and they also buy into the business, they're going to open the phone book and give you the details.
6 degrees of separation.
We love that, and that's what we're going to carry on. But obviously we're going to enjoy the view behind us, carry on with afternoon coffee. So you look forward to Jonathan's next video, where you're going to talk about the recruitment process, I suppose, is what you do. And I'll come up with something weird and wonderful like I always do. So chat soon and enjoy your afternoon.